Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Health and Wealth Podcast with your hosts, Tim and Carter.
What's trending, Enrichers? Carter Wilcoxon, founder of CSI Financial Group here, with my co-host and former wealth advisor, Tim James, founder of
ChemicalFreeBody.com and your new health advisor. This is the show where we reveal the connection between physical and financial abundance.
Hey, hello, Enrichers. Carter Wilcoxon here, along with my co-host of Chemical Free Body, Mr. Tim James.
Hey,
Tim,
buddy, here we go again. We've got another exciting guest on. Lisa.
Yes.
Yeah, Lisa, thanks for being here.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Absolutely.
Yes, I'm truly honored to have Miss Lisa Camacho from San Antonio, Texas, joining us today. Enrichers, you guys are in for a treat. Not only is Lisa Camacho one of the most wonderful people that you'll ever meet in your life, she's a consummate professional, but she's also doing this while having no water because of everything that's going on in the country right now in Texas.
That is so true. We are in the Texas tundra down here. No electricity, no water. It's crazy. 3 inches of snow on the ground.
Oh, I can't even get over that. So, Lisa, I called you actually earlier today, just making sure, hey, are you okay to be able to do this? I mean, do you have power? Do you have Wi-Fi? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, we do. Well, we are waiting for the water to come back on. We do have power, but I tell you, it makes you extremely resourceful when you lose those two things. You just have no idea how much you take them for granted until they're gone. What a cliche, but it's true. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Super thankful and well, we're grateful that you're able to make it here, and I'm glad that you are being able to be resourceful. I'm sure your other half, David, is taking good care of making sure everything's taken care of as well.
He is. He's done a great job. He's really done a great job. Let me just say that. Without him, I would have been in pretty big trouble probably.
Awesome. Well, hey, Lisa, what I want to do, I want to get the Enricher started with a little bit of your backstory, like where you've come from. I know that we're going to get into in the second segment a little bit more of what's going on right now in your life and with business and things of that nature. But if you don't mind, take us back in time a little bit of, how you got in the financial services business, some of your experiences out there. I know a lot of them and everything. Share with our Enrichers, a lot of your backstory and your why, what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So my husband and I have always been very entrepreneurial and ambitious and go-getters. And we both started and met actually in the medical sales business. David was in medical sales for about 30 years. I was in it for about 20 years. We're just go-getters in that aspect, but we were always interested in finance. I've always liked money and I've always liked to make lots of money. So we did pretty well in the medical sales field. But I tell you what kind of changed things for us is in 2008, when we lost about 38% of our retirement accounts. And we decided that was never going to happen to us again. And, we wanted to take control of the situation, control of our finances and so on and so forth. And so we actually started taking some classes on the stock market and trading in the stock market. We found a company here in Texas that taught us, and we actually got pretty darn good at it. And they asked us if we wanted to start traveling around the country and conducting workshops to teach others what we had learned. And so we thought, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So the two of us, took out back in about 2013 is when we started conducting those workshops on the weekend. And we just taught people how to trade in the stock market and not have to rely on money managers. And so we did that for 5 years, and that looked like about a 28 to 32 weekends out of the year we were on the road traveling. And so after you do that for 5 years, I tell you guys, we were so tired. We were just exhausted. And, we loved working with the stock market, but we decided that we just wanted to kind of refocus our knowledge on something else. And so that's when we met a group out of South Texas, and they introduced us to something called an annuity and life insurance. And we kind of liked it, because we could still use our knowledge of the stock market, in dealing with annuities and so on and so forth. So we got licensed and started working at that. And unbeknownst to us, this group was connected with CSI Financial Group. And so apparently we caught Carter's attention due to our performance, because we got a phone call one day out of the blue. I remember sitting in our office here in San Antonio, and the phone rings. And this guy comes on the line and he says, "Hey, this is Carter Wilcoxon from CSI Financial." I'm like, "Who? Who are you?" And so we ended up having, several conversations, flew out to Phoenix, Arizona to meet Carter and his business partner, Andrew Victor, and their whole team. And the rest is history. We're just approaching now 3 years of being with them. And as Carter mentioned earlier, we changed each other's lives. I think, I know he changed our life, but it's just been an amazing journey these 3 years.
So Lisa, first of all, thank you very much for that. And I remember that very first time when you guys came out. I want to say, and I don't know if because I know you've been out here a few times to Phoenix. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was that Cinco de Mayo? Was that the very first time?
I think it was, yes.
Right.
We felt very much at home coming out there during Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, obviously Camacho, and I know
Camacho,
and I know how much, when it comes to tequila, how much David appreciates tequila. So Cinco de Mayo, that was just, I don't know if it was predetermined, by a higher power that was what was going to happen. But I remember us having a great time. But as far as business goes, and how it relates to how you got started and now what you're doing, currently,
mm-hmm.
What was it? Do you think happened in, maybe previously, even to the whole stock market and liking money and all those types of things? Even if you went back even further, because you have such a heart for helping people, mm-hmm. Is there something that happened, even 25 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe it was, high school or college or whatever, that you felt like it was predestined to go that direction in helping people? Do you sort of have that? I mean, I know how I feel when I talk to you about how you have the client's best interest at heart at all times. Do you think that really was born from something early on, or is that just who you are?
Well, I would like to say it's probably just who I am. I don't know. It does go back probably a ways. And I will say this though, Carter, that, when a person is younger, obviously there's selfish ambitions, that take place and so on and so forth. I grew up in a Christian home, and, my mom was always such a big giver. And I think she just instilled that, in us. I have two brothers, and we've all just kind of been, a product of our environment growing up, which I'll attribute to her. But, you kind of take some paths along the way where maybe you kind of forget about, that giving aspect of it. And you can get to a point, where you just kind of need to redirect to that. And, part of, as I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to say, during this podcast that we're doing is, and I can revisit it a little bit later as well, but how that the process that I, have discovered through working with you guys, how that has changed me. Maybe from kind of a selfish aspect. I told you earlier, I like money. I like to make money, and I was very driven by that. And I still am, of course. But the process that we use, through CSI Financial Group, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit later, that has really changed me to truly maybe bringing me back to wanting to help people. It is definitely a relational versus a transactional process that we use. And I love these people that I work with. And that's not always been the case. I've always been driven for the money, and this has changed me to really care about people. And I love who I've become because of that. And I attribute a lot of that to you. forget 25 years ago. But, these past 3 years have just been life-changing to me in so many ways. It's just been incredible.
Yeah, that's I love to hear that. And it obviously, look, we are in the relationship business, to your point, right? And I know the type of production that you generate through our organization here, and it's reflective of how good of a job you do in your relationships. Because as you know, Lisa, people do business with you that they know and like and trust, right? And because we've developed this proprietary process where it all does focus on a process, those results that come from that process, as opposed to the product driven industry that we typically are living in. And we've been so laser focused on the benefits to your consumer. And that started obviously at the top here. We were so focused on how we can help develop your practice and help you grow your practice. And we are very faith-based in that you're going to reward us with doing the business together. And it should help you to come to your own conclusion. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it should help any advisor, any enricher that's out there listening, thinking about possibly, coming to find out more about CSI Financial Group. But it should help you come to your own conclusion that, why wouldn't I want to do business with you if you're helping me grow my business? It's a self-prophecy. So, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that was our whole entire goal here. And then and you mentioned my business partner, Andrew Victor, when we brought him on, it just put a whole nother level of application and creativity and unique, sophisticated planning that we can do, because a lot of people want to have help with their taxes and that mitigating of taxes. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that now as well.
Yeah. So, and I agree with you on that. If you focus on helping people, the money just follows. I mean, it's just a natural, part of that. And the sophistication that we can bring to a client, and I know that I am truly helping somebody. It's not just, hey, I got this product, it's going to help me more than it's going to help you, but I'm going to spin it in a way that you think it's going to help you more than it's going to help me. It's not like that at all. And I think that is something that was really refreshing to me, because I've been in, dabbled in all kinds of different, things out there. And it, not everything was for the benefit of the person, that I was dealing with. I tried to make myself think it was, but it wasn't necessarily. So, knowing that what we do as a result of what, CSI brings to the table for us, and all of the different, products and categories and different things that we can do for a client, I truly know that I can help a person. And I bring that confidence with me when I'm sitting in front of somebody and talking to them. I'm excited to tell them about what we can do, because, we do come at it from a little different spin than a, traditional advisor does, because of the people, the team that you've put together. Andrew Victor being like the wow factor, in all of this, as far as the financial, planning side of it and tax mitigation and so on and so forth, just has some incredible proprietary strategies that he is, put together and brought to the table. And it's just such an exciting conversation to have with somebody when you know that they need what you have, and it's real, you've experienced it, you've got, the proof to back it up. So it's just an exciting time. I'm so happy to be sitting where I am, at this moment in time in life.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's awesome, Lisa. We got to take a quick break right now, but when we get back, I want you to really dive into, because you've been working with Carter and CSI Financial for like 3 years. So I think so far you might be the longest client that we've had on the podcast so far. And when we get back, I want you to share with the listeners some of the strategies and things that CSI has helped you implement, and how that's impacted your business, financially, and just and giving you that feeling of security in your business, so you don't have to worry where the next client's going to come from. We'll be right back.
Are you concerned about being able to get all of your affairs in order during this trying time? Are you troubled by what would happen if you ever became incapacitated? Maybe you've been procrastinating in the past to address these issues, but now, more than ever before, you know just how important it is to get everything documented. Well, don't worry, because we can get you taken care of right from the comfort of your own home. Welcome to the revolutionary My Life Card Plan estate plan processing platform, home of the last estate plan you'll ever need. We are very pleased you are here, and rest assured, we can offer you a complete estate planning experience regardless of where in the 50 states you may live. Our unique transformational system combines efficiency, convenience, and professional support at levels you never thought possible for setting up your estate plan. Moreover, we will provide you with powerful, user-friendly dynamics that put you in total control of your plan throughout your lifetime. Call us today at 888-316-6040 or go to www.csifinancialgroup.com, and our team of specialists will be there to assist you every step of the way.
Welcome back, Enrichers. Tim James here with my co-host Carter Wilcox, and today we have a very special guest, Lisa Camacho, CEO of Legacy DLC. Maybe you can tell people what the DLC stands for, because we're all curious.
It is David Lisa Camacho. Okay, I got to get our DLC in there.
A family-run business. We love that.
Yeah.
So you shared your backstory with Carter and CSI Financial. Why don't you get into some of the tangible things that CSI Financial has brought to the table for you and your husband's business, and how that's affected you guys in your business and your lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think when we were, kind of trying to figure out what our, new life was going to look like when we first kind of transitioned from traveling and teaching, we were really looking for something some way to differentiate ourselves, from other life insurance agents and advisors out there. And we didn't want to just be cookie cutter, as I think I mentioned that before. It's just not our style. And so we knew we needed a mentor. We definitely knew the industry of the stock market, I should say, but we didn't know the new industry that we were getting into. And so we knew we needed an expert, somebody that had been in there, been there, done that, and been successful at it. So, we're really thankful when we found Carter. He found us, I guess, more than anything. So we quickly realized that CSI really had something special going on. The proprietary process that they put together through the estate plan portfolio, which, focused on living trust, that was really intriguing to us. And, it's kind of funny because, Carter, you might remember this, in the very beginning, I really rebelled against it because the living trust is such a long process. It's 2 weeks, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, which is really not long.
It's only 2 or 3 weeks prior to meeting us, right?
Exactly. And, I wanted to get to the money. I did. But, Carter said, Lisa, no, you got to try this. And, it really works. And so it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. I quickly realized that it was relational instead of transactional, and that it, it really, really worked well. And was exactly what we were looking for. It really competitor proofed our business, I think, by following the process that CSI has put together with the estate portfolio, plan portfolio. And so it's really interesting because by the time you get to talking about the money with a client, you have gone through, 2 to 3 weeks of knowing them, getting to know them, meeting their children, knowing their grandkids. By the end of it, they're inviting me to Thanksgiving dinner, and I love that. And I don't know if that's from a woman's perspective of that, loving the relational thing. I'm okay with that. But, and you don't have to get that into it, but I tap into it. And that's what I was talking about earlier. This has changed me because I'm probably not the warmest, fuzziest person you've ever met, but this has kind of helped me to become that. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. But
Well, you seem really nice right now, so good job, Carter.
Extra guest appearance on the podcast for Mr. Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
Who knew?
All right.
Have a cameo appearance by Mr. Andrew Victor.
That was a cameo appearance. I love that. That's hilarious. And I was just going to talk about him. So, but anyway, so kind of going back to your question, Tim, about, the different strategies and so on and so forth. By the time we get to, talking about the money, they definitely trust us. And the conversation is so much easier. And, we're surrounded by an amazing team that Carter's put together. And, part of that is I've worked with Andrew, oh my gosh, just, we're so closely. I always say I wish I could do a brain transfer with him, but I'm just not quite sure I could handle that, because he's just so smart and I love him. But he does some really sophisticated financial planning, focusing on tax mitigation. That's just his gig. And that is just so important for so many reasons. I could go into my whole spiel, but I won't. But the thing I think that is most impressive to a client, or, that they realize is just going to be so beneficial to them, is this tax mitigation, this planning is now available to the normal class, or the, middle class, or whatever class you want to call that, where it used to just be for the, ultra wealthy people. And some of these strategies that, we're using are what the wealthy people use, but now it's available, to the normal people that we talk to, and they just love that. And we kind of include it in our plan, so they're not having to pay thousands of dollars, for the plan itself, and it's just been so helpful to them, as, to their overall plan. It's been life-changing to people. It really has. It's gone from, I can, actually retire, as opposed to working the rest of my life. But so that's, about the client. And then to us, oh my goodness, just, the financial aspect of it for David and I has just been phenomenal. I mean, I don't know how deep you guys want me to get on that. And Carter, you may want to kind of lead me down a path if you want me to go. I don't know.
Well, we can get into, some of the, you don't have to present your tax returns to the enricher right now, but
ready. Okay.
We want tax returns.
Yes,
that's right.
But
show us your tax returns.
Love it.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that the enrichers, as they're listening, they can hear it in your voice on just how much things have changed, and that transfers to your clients that you work with. They feel that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you're going to correct me on any of this, but I think that what we really truly deliver, because of the process driven as opposed to product driven, is the true peace of mind that they're really yearning for. And that starts with the estate plan portfolio and setting them up not only now, but also into the future and beyond. When they're no longer here any longer, that gives that true peace of mind that helps your clients come to their own conclusion. Like, why would I want to work with anybody else? And my guess is, and I'll let you talk about this, do you find a lot of times as they're going through that process, they may be working with some other agents or advisors or producers or whatever you want to call them, and they feel like this sense of, I want to consolidate everything with you guys, and maybe not at 100%, success rate, but do you find a lot of instances where at their stage in their life, consolidation and simplicity is actually more valuable to them than, maybe some other relationship that they've had along the way? Can you talk a little bit about on that?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely correct. The demographics that we work with are either entering into retirement or already in retirement, and so their focus is not accumulation anymore, but they're looking towards distribution, and so the security is hugely important to them, and their accumulation advisor is kind of how I categorize them. They've done well for them, and I'll acknowledge that, when I'm talking to them. I would never say anything to, about who they've been working with, because that's not, cool for many reasons. But but I think what we are selling them, if you will, I hate to use that word, but is peace of mind, what you just said a while ago, and so it's refreshing to them to hear, something new, something safe. Let's keep your money safe. Let's mitigate taxes, and one of the strategies that we use from Andrew is even what I call, legacy planning, for their children. We have a really neat strategy that we use that literally can, generate. Pardon?
I was just saying, generationally, you're setting the.
Thank you. Yes, generationally. I was just speechless for a moment, which is so unusual for me. Generationally impact, their children with tax-free income. You can just multiply their IRA, 2 to 3 times the value with some of the strategies that Andrew brings to the table for us. But yeah, the peace of mind, the safety.
That by the way, that's huge, Lisa. What you just brought up there is huge, because it takes away a lot of the political stuff. Right? Are taxes going up? Are they going down? I mean, if you can have your financial future and your children's and your great grandchildren's financial future grounded in a tax-free environment, wow, that is a powerful thing. You eliminate a big disturbance that can affect the money that they've accumulated.
That is true. And that's what I tell clients when we're talking about, setting up their living trust, that what people don't realize is when you're setting up an estate plan, you are not just looking at the legal consequences of the decisions that you make, but you are also need to take into consideration the financial consequences of the decisions that you make, because you want to, position your assets that you're passing along to your children in the best manner that you can. And what's better than sending that on to them in a tax-free, position? And why not enjoy it while you're alive, tax-free at the same time? And so, yeah, that is always a conversation that people do not shy away from. Everybody's interested in tax-free, and especially right now while the tax brackets are, at the lowest they've been in decades, and we've got a short period of time to get your tax ducks in a row. Everybody wants to talk about that. And so that's just such a fun conversation to have.
Well, hey, Lisa, what I want to talk a little bit about now is another role that you played because of our growth and our scaling up. As an advisor, partner, mentor. And if you don't mind, share with the enrichers on how what you're doing in the new role that we've created, where we are now bringing all of these tools and benefits to other advisors throughout the country. I mean, you've got some mentees, as we call them, in different parts of the country, right? Where you're able to share what you're doing by helping their clients with that foundational approach of what we call the estate plan portfolio and implementing that. Can you talk a little bit about how that is an avenue that you see as a growing avenue, and what it really ultimately does is it enables these other advisors that are out there that don't know how to navigate these waters to allow them to do the true thing they really want to do, which, right, wrong, or different, is create that transactional opportunity with these households. Life insurance, annuities, AUM, whatever the case may be. But can you talk a little bit about how that's been going and how you forecast the future for that role that you're going to be playing as a mentor on this platform?
Yes. Okay. So that is really, truly exciting. So you've created something amazing. You have created a process that, as I mentioned, competitor proofs, advisor's business. And it's something that once you start replicating that, it's just endless. The benefit of that is endless. And really phenomenal. It's a win-win situation for the advisor and the client, with capital W's on both of those. That's the ultimate goal for that. So when we're talking, I'm working with and talking to other advisors out there. When you're talking about all the ins and outs of putting a living trust together, an estate plan together, if they're not used to that, it can be really intimidating and confusing, and they want the end result, but they don't know how to get there. And so that's what Carter has created, is this mentor program where, I've been there, done that, and I've done it for 3 years. And I am in no way being braggadocious, but I've learned it, and I do it well, and so going back to the helping people, it's not just helping the client, but I love to share my knowledge with other advisors. I'm not in competition with them. There's enough people out there for everybody to have, and so, do the right thing and let's share that knowledge. And so I've really, really had a lot of fun working with some of the advisors, and, it's not just the fun aspect, but it is just helping them to get started. And what it really does is it just takes the onus off of them of learning this whole process. We basically do everything for them. And when it's time to, for them to have a conversation about how they can help them with their, assets and maybe reposition them into, different products, safer products, talk about tax mitigation, we turn it back over to the advisor. So they, started at the beginning, we do everything in the middle, and then send it back to them at the very end to talk about the money. So I can't imagine anything better. I wish you would have had this 3 years ago, Carter, and I would have been a participant at that point. But no, I'm glad I learned everything because, knowledge is power, as they say. But the program that you've put together is fantastic. And I love helping people make money. And I'm talking about the advisor, helping you make money and helping clients make money. So it's, it's a 3 win-win-win situation on that, but it's a good deal. It's a good program.
Yeah. And, early on, a little bit of my fear, and if any of those enrichers or prospective advisor partners are out there listening right now, a little bit of my fear was, well, are they going to really feel comfortable that an advisor that they're just getting to know is working with their clients? Can you talk a little bit about how that's actually, worked out for, yourself and the advisor, and how it really is this multidisciplinary team approach and us doing all the heavy lifting on the estate planning side of things?
Yes. And I totally get that. I mean, people get very protective of their clients. And so I think it initially starts with a good relationship between, for example, me as a mentor and the advisor. We need to initially build a trust factor there. They need to know that, I've got their best interest, their client's best interest at heart. And so, I think the initial trust begins, with the two of us, if you will. And then, they are welcome to participate in as much of this, heavy lifting part that they want to. I'm not saying for them to do the heavy lifting, but, for example, one of my mentees that I worked with, she wanted to be on the call with me for the first time when I spoke with her client. And after she was on the call for the first time, she was like, you know what? Good. You got this, go for it. She just needed to understand, what was happening a little bit. And then I have another one that was just basically like, go for it. I trust you. It's all good. That was a man, by the way. No, I'm just teasing. But anyway, but it's a trust factor. But it's so easy. And once they understand, that we're not trying to take their clients away from them, that we are edifying them and helping their client understand, what they can do and what their potential is, that they embrace it. And it's just been a good thing.
Yeah. So, and I've been saying, and I know that we may be coming up on a break here fairly quickly, but I throw in, just one other quick note. Number one, suffice it to say that it works, right? And you've heard me say this ad nauseum. It all begins and ends with client acquisition, right? Mm-hmm. The best products and solutions in the world matter not if you've got nobody to tell it or sell it to, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what this is really all about. This is all about, those 3 things, and you've already mentioned one of them, right? Competitor proof in your practice, right? But the experience that the clients go through in your own practice, obviously you see this on a regular basis. That experience that they go through is unlike anything that they've ever experienced in their life, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that because we get that feedback time and time again, not only from you, but, from your clients, but also all the other advisor partners that we work with, along with the mentors. So I just want to say just real quick again, that this is a collaborative team approach.
Yes.
We want everybody to win in this equation. And every one of our mentors, including you, Lisa, we all have a vested interest in the success of those advisors after we've done the heavy lift. So anyway, I just wanted to reiterate that. And if you have anything else, or Tim, if you have any other questions, maybe statistics, some wins that we've had, or anything like that you want to talk about now too.
Well, one thing that I want, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's not just for their current client base, but this mentor program is to help generate new clients. The client acquisition that you were just talking about. So that's what most people are looking for. They're like, show me how to get new clients. That's the hardest thing to do. And so this has really been very successful from that aspect.
Yeah, Carter, what you brought up when you said, finding clients is it's a difficult part. And it's like you can have all these great products and stuff if you're lucky enough and fortunate enough to have those great products. But unfortunately, if you're with a big organization, you're going to be basically, peddling whatever they offer. You go to a baker, they bake. You go to a surgeon, they cut. You go to somebody that sells stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. What are you going to walk out of there with? Stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So going to an advisor that has stocks, bonds, mutual funds, understands the whole thing, can know the fees, the differences, tax advantages, and has annuities, and has life insurance and tax planning and all this other stuff. It's almost like it's almost like the health approach, like where Western medicine compartmentalizes, like, oh, you have to go see the knee specialist or the gastroenterologist. But then they're like, yeah, my throat hurts. Oh, that's out of my scope, right? You have to go see the throat doctor. It's like the whole thing's connected, just like your whole financial picture is connected. And even if you are fortunate enough to be an independent and you have all these great tools and stuff and you have the whole team put together, you can be all dressed up like Jeff Dixon, my financial advisor mentor, told me. He goes, you can be all dressed up and no place to go because you don't have anybody sitting on the other side of the desk from you. It's like a dentist. Dentists are broke if they don't have their hands in your mouth, right? If you're not talking to somebody. So client acquisition is important. It's probably the most important thing, because if you don't have that, you could be a crappy, lousy financial advisor. And if you have a constant stream of clients coming in, you're probably still going to do okay. So just imagine if you had somebody that gave you a train track to run on for all of it. Like, here's the clients, here's the presentation to do, here's what to do afterwards, here's the follow-up here. It's just boom, 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 tax planning. And you can wrap that all up in one, like you guys are doing over at CSI Financial. That's really cool. So right now we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get into Lisa's health. Are you with me? We'll be right back.
You want the absolute best for yourself, and you want it to be easy. That's why we created Green 85. It helps with detoxifying the body gently. We're proud it's chemical-free, unlike almost all other supplements you'll find. Bottom line, Green 85 will get you healthier. We look forward to hearing what Green 85 did for you.
To get this product and our other amazing products, go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com. What's up, Enrichers? Tim James here with my host, Carter Wilcoxon. We've got Lisa Camacho in the house, CEO of Legacy DLC. Lisa, thanks for being on here. And now is where we flip the script. We get off of the wealth and we're going to flip over to health. And this is your chance to ask me any question about your health, your family's health, coworkers' health, anything like that.
Okay, so I'm pretty high strung. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I give about 150% to my clients. I'm an overachiever, and all of that equals a lot of stress. And, so I have a family history of heart conditions and disease and whatever. And so, when you put all of that together, that kind of creates a really crazy recipe for things to happen, with your health or whatever. And so I suffer from reflux, and I don't know. I take medicine for it. And I'm just so tired of that. And I just need balance, I think, in my life. And I just think that if I get that balance, it's going to make a bunch of things like that go away. What's your perspective on that?
Well, first off, I want to take you off the hook as far as, you know, when you go into the modern medical system, they're going to say, oh, does your dad have this? Do you have any history of breast cancer? And your mom, you know, all this stuff. And then what they do is like, oh, you have a family history of that. Well, here's how it works. So genes and genetics only have about, what I've experienced and what I've learned, about a 2 to 3% weight in the whole thing. 97% of it is lifestyle and environment. Okay. And this goes back to Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, where he was a cell biologist for 50 years studying cells. And the whole concept was the nucleus was the power generator of the cell. And he's like, man, what the hell? I'm going to take it out and see what happens. He took the cell out, and guess what? Or the nucleus out, the cell still lived. It was still alive. So he broke that whole thing. And then when he saw that there was receptor sites and on the outside of cells that were bringing in information, he wondered how all that, where was it coming from? Then he realized that we're like radio antennas and TVs, and that our energy and our sources came from outside of us. He became spiritual overnight. But one thing that he did is he coined a term that is called that I forgot. I'll get it. But what he does, I don't know why. Sometimes this is part of being human, right? Like something I teach it and preach it all the time. I teach class on this. I can't remember right now. But anyway, what it is like when you take a gene research, they'll take a healthy human cell and they will put it into a petri dish with a cancer causing agent. Okay. They know the cell is going to mutate into cancer. And then they look at it and they're like, how can we create a synthetic to block that process or do something? We can patent it and sell it to somebody. My thing is that why don't we not put the cell in the toxic cancerous environment in the first place so that it doesn't mutate at all? That goes back to you to self-responsibility and understanding these things, the toxins that are in our air and our water and our food, the stresses that we have from our jobs and our relationships and electromagnetic frequency stress and all these things that we have going on. So, it's called epigenetics. There it is. So the study of epigenetics, which is what he said, it's the environment, stupid. Like when a fish gets sick, like this happened in the 70s. If you guys remember, like the Great Lakes, all these fish started dying and flopping up on the beach and dying. And then the birds were eating the fish. And then the birds had these thin eggs and the hatchlings weren't working. So do you think that when those fish got sick, now I know there's a lot of intelligent people on here listening, this is going to hit home, that we should take those fish and set up little ERs all around the banks and start pumping chemotherapy into the fish? Or do you think we might say, wonder what's in the water that's causing the fish to get sick, right? But what are we doing as a human race? Well, we're not looking at what's in our water, what's in our air, what's in our environment, the skin products we put on, the makeups, the hairs, the shampoos, the toothpaste, the type of foods we eat, the clothing that we're wearing, and all these things like Lycra bras and Lycra underwear that are off-gassing these estrogen-mimicking chemicals that lead to breast cancer and lead to hormone disruption and estrogen-mimicking plastics. That's why I'm always pounding on Carter, like, if you purify your water and do all that stuff, but you're drinking out of plastic containers, you're disrupting your hormones. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean this isn't happening. All people have to do is look up umbilical cord and chemical, and they can see the studies going back to 2005 showing that every single child and young mother being born, they're full of toxic chemicals that cause cancer and developmental disorders. So this is a reality that we try to expose the awareness. So now that you're off the hook, that genetics isn't like some predetermined destiny for heart disease, just because your family has it means you're probably all eating the same crap. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. It's the same lifestyle. So, or maybe you're exposed to water like Flint, Michigan, or maybe you're living next to power lines. A lot of times it's the lifestyle, it's the foods and stuff that have been handed down. And then on top of it, we have all this extra stress. So now the question is, okay, I'm not predestined to have heart disease. What's leading up to it? What can I do about it? Well, the first thing is actually limiting your meat intake. Dr. Esselstyn from the Cleveland Clinic was one of the top cardiac surgeons in the world, and he was doing bypass surgeries, taking a vein out of the leg and attaching it to heart to bypass the diseased artery. That's a bypass. It's $50,000 in and out, in and out, in and out. He did that for years. And I mean, he had a waiting list for like a year to get him. He was like the best at it. And then one day he's like pulling all the plaque out of the artery. And he looked at it. He's like, what's in this? So he analyzed it. And guess what it was? It was animal fat. And he thought, I wonder if people stopped eating animals, if that would help out their cardiovascular disease. And all the other surgeons thought he was freaking crazy because at medical school, diet has nothing to do with your health. It's stupid. Who does that? And go to the dietitian, nutritionist. They teach them 2 weeks of that stuff in medical school. Go see the overweight dietitian. He'll give you the advice on what to do. Or go see the blind ophthalmologist. They'll help you. I mean, this is the mentality that we're dealing with today, right? So he does this experiment, and he takes like 18, or he took 19 people, and he says, I'm going to put them on a plant-based diet. Now, I'm not saying that people listening, you have to go plant-based. I'm saying you want to up your intake of plants. I'm not saying quit meat completely, okay? Especially but these people were multiple bypasses, quadruple bypasses. They were on their last leg. There was nothing else for them. They couldn't operate again, stents, all that stuff they've done. And they gave them to those guys. They said, SLT is crazy. Let's give him the worst of the worst. One of the people dropped out of the program. He died. At the time, 18 of those people were still alive today at the time of watching that movie, years later. And actually, one of the surgeons who was healthy and was a runner had a heart attack right there in the hospital. He's like, put me in the gurney. I'm having a heart attack. And he was the healthy one. And they showed a picture of his diseased artery. Esselstyn puts him on a plant-based diet, and in 2 years, his artery had healed itself, and they have pictures showing how the artery was perfectly beautiful again. Okay? So what ends up happening is when you have an excess amount of animal fat coursing through your veins all the time, you're covering up these things called endothelial cells. These are these little cells that are releasing nitrogen oxygen into your blood and keeping that blood flow going too, and it's all about blood flow. That's what it's all about. So the artery gets diseased and the blood can't flow. They have to bypass it and put a new artery in. So why don't we get to the root cause, which is eating a lot of, healthy, fresh, plant-based foods. If you want to have a little meat here and there, it's not a big deal. Just don't, you don't need to go out and have the, 400-ounce steak and get the free meal, right? Or go to the Heart Attack Grill in Las Vegas and, it's free if you're over 300 pounds to eat there. It's just like crazy. Have your heart and have a side of heart attack fries, and we make fun of this stuff, but it's killing half of us. And it's not fun when your father dies in your arms of heart disease, or your mother dies. You get a phone call and your mom's dead at age 56 of a heart attack, which happened to my wife at the time, and hearing her scream through the hallway. And I knew something was terribly wrong, and running in there, and she speaks a different language. Madre muerto, which means my mom is dead. And I've been through this multiple times with people, and it's fun to joke around about it. But the reality is that you can work your ass off your whole life and do everything right financially. But if you don't take care of your health, it's all for naught, because if you don't have your health, you can't spend the money. And a lot of people save up all this money and then they spend all their money down into a broken system trying to get just a little bit of their health back. And it's just not working. So the big takeaway here is limit the animal intake. And also know that just eating a lot of fresh foods and fresh plants, there's a whole bigger conversation here. It revolves on lifestyle. Now, here's the biggest one, because you brought it up: stress. You have a lot of stress. So right now, I know we're having a good time. There's a lot of fun here. But on a scale of 1 to 10, to be totally honest, first thing that pops into your mind, 1 being you're mellow jello, and 10, you're so stressed out that you just want to end your life. Where are you at on that spectrum right now? First answer.
7.
You're a 7. Okay. Now do this exercise with me. And for you and Richards that are not driving in the car, you're in a nice quiet spot, I want you to go ahead and sit up straight. We're gonna do some breath exercises right here real quick. And I'm going to show you how powerful your breath exercise is, and your breath play, breath work, whatever you want to call it. So go ahead, sit up straight, strong back, soft belly. And let's go ahead. And if you want to, you can close your eyes and then put your hands on your lap and take a big, deep breath in through the nose. And then suspend the breath at the top, not in a forceful way, but in a gentle way. And then release out through the mouth. A nice, long, slow flow. Just let it all go. And then pause at the bottom with your lungs completely empty. And then back in through the nose. And then suspend the breath at the top and hold. And then release out through the mouth. Again, a very gentle, slow flow, and then pause at the bottom with your lungs completely emptied and hold. Okay, back in through the nose. And then suspend the breath. And then release out through the mouth. Pause at the bottom with your lungs empty and hold. Back in through the nose. Suspend the breath and hold. And then release out through the mouth, relaxing your eyes, your nose, your tongue, your lips, your cheeks, your ears, everything feeling completely relaxed as you pause at the bottom with your lungs completely empty. Okay, last breath in through the nose. Suspend the breath and hold. And let it all go. And then pause at the bottom with your lungs emptied in silence. Okay, Lisa, go ahead and Richard, resume your normal breathing. How do you feel?
Wow. Relaxed.
Okay, let's do that. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 you're mellow jello, 10 you're stressed out. I'm done with this world. Where are you at now?
Like a 5.
Okay, so you went from a 7 to a 5 in about 1 minute and 14 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
What drug can you take that'll do that and without side effects?
None. Yeah, right.
There is none, right?
Yeah.
There is none. It can't even act that fast because it's got to go through the digestive tract. It's going to have to get in your bloodstream. It's all this stuff. Like your breath work is one of the most powerful things that we have because what we're doing here, and this isn't woo-woo stuff. This is taking you out of fight or flight mode. When you have this client to deal with and this stuff and demand and timelines, we got to get these signatures in and there's, oh my God, I got to take my continuing education and like, oh my God, the SEC's coming for an audit and there's all this stuff going on and I still have to take care of my husband. I got to take care of myself. I got to take care of the kids. I got to take, there's all these things going on. We are constantly in a state of fight or flight. And what ends up happening is you're blowing out your adrenal glands, your cortisol levels are through the roof and you're going to be like a car that has an axle just break off and all of a sudden your ass end's dragging down the road with sparks and you're going to pull off to the side. That's where people happen when they don't take care of their health because it is fundamental to all of your happiness because everything regarding your body is connected. Your business is connected to your body. Your husband's connected. Your relationships, everything is affected by your health, whether it's good health or poor health. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So anyway, that is just a prime example right there. Now, we teach people to do this breath work right before they eat so that we can get out of fight or flight and get back into rest and digest mode to pull the blood from the extremities back into the organ system so they can digest their food better. We want digestion and assimilation of nutrients. However, this is also another tool in your toolkit that you can use multiple times a day, Lisa, and it only takes a minute or two. You can just, do it in your office, take a moment. You can set your watch, put it in your phone as a recurring appointment once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a day. It's like bzz, bzz, breath work. You're like, oh, just pause and do it for a minute and bring yourself back to center and realize that you're going to be okay.
I just made myself a sticky note that says breathe. I'm going to put it on my computer. I love that. Yeah. No, that is awesome, Tim. Thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome. We definitely don't want you to have a heart attack because you're doing so much good work out there helping people with their finances so they don't have a heart attack when the market crashes, which always happens. You don't get those phone calls because you're setting them up right. So we want you to definitely take care of yourself, and then you can be a shining example, not only to your clients, but to your friends and your family and the people in your community.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Wow.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So Tim, I know that this is the health side of the Health and Wealth podcast show and everything. And we talked just a few days ago that, for all of our guests, we're going to give them some special takeaways for how you can do some nice things like this, not just on the show, but obviously things that you do for group lessons. And maybe Lisa has some clients that might want to be able to come in and maybe join a little group session or two.
Yeah. So what we're doing, Lisa, is Carter's always about more value. We want to create more value for the clients like he done at CSI Financial. And I've done it my business at chemicalfreebody.com. And we thought we have you advisors come on. And I'm here for you. If you want to do a free consult for your health or someone in your family, we that's part of the deal, no problem. But I was thinking, if we could help you, but what about your clients? I mean, if you have a client base of 100 or 1,000 people, there's probably some people out there that are interested in this common sense information and would like to have some practical tools. So as part of coming on the show today, or anybody listening, any enrichers out there, financial advisors that like to come onto the show, just reach out to Carter, and you guys can be vetted. Come on. If you do, then I'm going to offer a free, basically like we can do a Zoom or a Skype. I can do like a live webinar, and you can have attendees come on, and I'll do a free class for them. You can record this class, post it on your website as a value add, and then you can also send it out in an email as a gift to your clients that, you're not just about, protecting their money, but this is another way that you're going to protect their money, because if they're not around to spend it, then, that's no fun either. Right. Yeah. So there's no do-over when people have a heart attack. 25% of heart attacks end in death. So we can't change the diet. We can't do that stuff. So let's just try to get ahead of the curve. And for those that are open-minded and willing, that want this information, then you can provide that for them. And that's a free service that we're offering over here at the Health and Wealth Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you. I imagine, who wouldn't want to know that information?
Yeah. So if you're interested, just reach out to Carter, and he'll set you up with me, and my assistant will book a time and come up with the format, and it's easy as that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the reason why, Tim and I were just talking about that the other day about, our additional value add of not just having you be a guest on here and, learn some things right now, but, let's multiply that. We are always talking about, Tim talked about this all the time, about we're trying to live a life of abundance, right? Yes. So since we do have so much to give, an abundant amount of things to give, knowledge-wise, and you use this terminology that we have shared with you and you share with your clients about proactive estate planning. Well, this really is in that same vein. It's proactive health planning. And that's why I was like, Tim, maybe what we should do is for all of our guests, maybe we can give an opportunity for them to have their clients come on. And most of your clients are, 55 and up, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when it's the most critical time for any type of proactive planning. This just happens to be on the health side of things.
I think that's excellent, because most people are reactive, so I love that. Let's be proactive. Yeah, I'm very interested in that, and I appreciate that. Your knowledge base is awesome and amazing. So I'd love to hear more about it myself. So perfect.
Well, thank you for that. Mm-hmm. Well, another great show, Carter. Way to keep finding these amazing guests.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, I'm highly blessed and highly favored as far as I'm concerned. So it's been a dream come true. The scariest thing ever that happened for me, 7 years ago, coming up in July, right before that, is becoming an entrepreneur, starting your own business, performance driven, no more salary to depend on, right? Scariest, most exhilarating, most wonderful, horrifying thing that anybody could ever do. And for you enrichers out there, like Lisa Camacho, we know exactly what it's like. So from an advisor's perspective, as someone who's been in the field and understood the things that were missing and lacking, that's why we built everything that we have here. Lisa is a perfect example of, if you buy into the process that we've refined and developed over the last 3.5 years, you will be abundant in that capacity as well. So Lisa, let's leave it with you real quick. For those who are out there listening right now, if they want to learn more about Lisa and David Camacho and your process that you have there in San Antonio, where can they find you?
Yes, absolutely. We have a website, so you can go to Legacy DLC Inc. So Legacy DLC, like David Lisa Camacho Inc. Inc.com. And that'll just give you a good overview. There's a way for you to connect with us on there. My cell number is 830-515-9598. And I'd be happy to talk with you on any aspect of anything we've talked about today, especially the CSI financial part of it is amazing. And I'm always happy to talk about that. So hope to hear from y'all. Yeah.
And one last thing for those enrichers that maybe they're prospective clients that are listening, right? I mean, the goal that Tim and I have with the Health and Wealth Podcast show is to make it, mainstream if we can one day. So maybe this could be years down the road, right? Why don't you talk a little bit about the on-demand training and learning on estate planning and why it's so critical that you have on your website?
Yes. So, this COVID, which, if you are years down the road listening to this, that's, hopefully just in the past, has forced everybody to go digital, and the demographics that we work with, they've been resistant to it, but now it's forcing them to get comfortable with it. And so we are no longer, well, at the moment, we are not able to do live workshops. So we are have an on-demand workshop recorded for you to listen to on our website, and it will enlighten you on what an estate plan is, some scenarios that will make you stop and think, oh my goodness, I have never even thought about that, as far as my planning for, the future looks like. So yeah, you can actually attend a workshop on living trust, estate planning, right from our website at your leisure at home.
Straight from the comfort and safety of their own home. So
there you go.
Well, Enrichers, thank you again for another wonderful show. Lisa Camacho, we want to thank you for coming on and being a truly amazing guest on our little health and wealth podcast show. So for Tim James, I'm Carter Wilcoxon, wishing you guys a wonderful day and living a life of abundance. And make sure to share, like, and subscribe to the Health and Wealth Podcast Show. And you can also now find all of our previous podcasts on the Health and Wealth Podcast Show.com website. Tim James, thanks again for being my phenomenal co-host and bringing it every single week.
Thanks, brother. It's my pleasure always being here and talking with these cool people.
Absolutely awesome. Have a great day. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Hey, Enrichers, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Carter Wilcoxon.
And I'm your host, Tim James. And by God, we are committed to helping you guys have fat wallets, flat bellies. So tune in again for another episode and make sure to like, share, and drink a lot of water.
Or beer.
You have just listened to the Health and Wealth Podcast with Carter and Tim.